All right, ladies and gentlemen, back after a little bit of a hiatus due to our busy schedules, we have the winner circle with World's Strongest Man 105, Nicholas Canby, and myself, Anthony Furman, a former champion. Remember, this is where losers go home and winners win, 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 no matter what.
No matter what. Awesome. Well, good to see you, Anthony. Of course, I hope you had a great vacation. Of course, you're out in a week in Jamaica. How was that?
It was a wonderful time down by the beach.
It still looks like I'm tanner than you, though.
That was like Miss
And I
Cleo.
haven't got any sun.
Oh, I put a lot of sunscreen on because I'm terrified of the sun.
Well, yeah. SPF 90?
50.
50. All right. That's modest. You probably got a little tan, but of course, I'm glad that you got some vitamin D. You needed it. You look very well rested, and it looks like you've been coming out with a new storm. But we're not here today to talk about you. We're here because we have the opportunity to chat with four-time America's Strongest Man, Sean Demarinis. So we're going to go over his story, his accolades, and what it takes to be a repeat champ. But of course, I appreciate the introduction today, Anthony. But I'm not here to talk about my world title. That was old news. No one cares anymore. All right. It's all about no one cares. But I do have one question, Anthony, that I want you to ask me. Anthony, out of all my titles, which one do you think is my favorite?
Which one do I think is your favorite title?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I mean, I'm going to go with the not obvious choice. I'm going to say Clash on the Coast champion.
Interesting. And that is wrong. The answer is the next one, because we don't care about, that's all old news, man. We care about the next one. So going into the off season, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you're not Al Bundy. You know Al Bundy?
The serial killer?
No, that's Ted Bundy. Al Bundy's from Married with Children. He talked about playing high school and football.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not
Al. Oh my goodness. All right. So next, going into your off season, what are your plans?
Sure. So the key word is going to be reinvention. And I say this just because and I was talking to this about a few friends and I also did a nice little podcast with Lawrence Char recently. So that was, of course, that was fun, but there's been a slew of competitions compared to 2020, right? We only had like nationals and ASM in 2020. This year we had, of course, all these great contests, including Clash on the Coast, and of course the Super Series as top of OSG, ASM, all the course competition overseas. So there's all these data points. You see, everybody sees who won them. Everybody sees what it took to win. So I think everybody's going to be coming out harder. They're going to be bringing a bigger, better package. And the stakes were high this year, but the stakes are going to be even higher next year. So I took 2 weeks off. Pretty much did a year's worth of eating within those 2 weeks. But now I'm back to my next block, which I started Saturday. And I'm ramping up slowly for April. So that's really kind of my focus. But even with Clash on the Coast, we're going to have a great international presence this year. So we're not just going to have one token Canadian of Isaac Mays. We're going to have almost a few different continents, which is going to be exciting.
So we have 50 people signed up right now for the online qualifier international from, I think we're at 9 different countries, 10 different countries.
Wow, that's awesome. That's super cool. And I bet that's going to grow.
That's more than that's just about as many as signed up for the whole qualifier last year from everywhere.
Interesting. And I bet more will come too once the news will come out. But 50 is a great start. But yeah, you've had a lot of other big announcements. I know probably want to give some a little more color on those.
Yeah. So I mean, what we're doing is what we promised to do, and that's do things differently than they've been done. Right? They've been done a certain way. It worked for some people, it didn't work for the majority, and the sport has evolved where the overwhelming majority of athletes are like you and me, the females, the smaller guys. And it's time. I'm really taking this as a personal challenge to create a place at the table for everybody. I think everybody deserves it. Just because I'm not 300 pounds doesn't mean I don't put in as much work as that guy. Mm-hmm. So why should I be rewarded so much less? So I'm trying to do everything I can within my power in our company and the people around me too. As you know, the people supporting it, the people throwing these shows that are part of this rebellion, they're making this happen. And it just goes to show that the community is ready and the community is ready to take it in their own hands and make a better future.
Absolutely. I think the more opportunities and things like that, I think it's going to bring out even better athletes. I learned actually probably in the last few hours or so that, of course, the U80 champ from OSG, Ricky Lifts, I think I forget his last name. It was his first year of Strongman. That's nuts. Of course, I know he probably saw a lot of course, great individuals come through in the past, but just I think we're going to see a lot more of that, especially in the lighter weight classes, of people just coming out of the woodworks, great CrossFit athletes, either great track athletes, and even gymnasts. And there has been some example of gymnasts. Of course, one of the guys I competed with in Russia was a former gymnast. So,
well, and especially once there is actual opportunity for them, then you're going to really get the better athletes. Because if you don't got the opportunity, only the hobbyists stay, right? Which we need those people, because every sport needs people that just enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But to get the best athletes, you got to have opportunity for those athletes. So
absolutely. So we have Sean Demarinis in the green room right now, but right before we bring him on, do you have anything that grinds your gears today, Anthony Gefferman?
Anything that grinds my gears. I mean, really just the thing that always grinds my gears is just stop telling people what to do. Let people live their lives, man. Like, with you, I've never told you not to do something.
No, you just tell me my deadlift stinks and you're weak and you need to get better. So
it doesn't stink anymore, though.
No, it doesn't. So you know what, you help. So,
but like, I would never tell you like, don't compete at this show, don't compete at that show, things like that. So that grinds my gears because it's still going. It's 2021. Like, this isn't 2005 IPSA anymore. Like, let's move on. Let's everyone eat.
Yeah. Everybody has a mind of their own. They can make the right decisions for them.
Yeah.
So let's bring on Sean Demarinis.
Let's go.
One moment.
I'm excited to see him.
I'm excited too. Hopefully he likes my background. Sean.
Oh,
hey, did you like my background, Sean?
Yeah,
sure. He's so ugly. I forgot.
you know, that was actually the first trip I actually met Sean, and we became best friends like instantly.
So you've always been that much taller than him?
Yes. Well, maybe I probably lost an inch or two since I probably had like 5 or 6 heavy yokes since then.
Well, so did Sean, so it's still proportionate.
But thanks for coming on, Sean.
Of course, thank you, good sir.
We were talking a little bit, of course, about your accolades. Of course, 4-time strongest man. And of course, we're interested in hearing about, of course, how you started and of course what it takes. But some people know, but I was to say Sean's been a great friend over the years, a great mentor. And if it wasn't Sean for telling me how pathetic and weak I was, especially my deadlift, I probably wouldn't be the man I was today. So Sean, thank you. And thank you for coming on.
Yeah. And for me, when I got into the game as a 105, I mean, Sean was the bar. He was the one we were all chasing. So, I mean, it's my whole time in the sport, and he's always treated me well. At first he didn't treat me like competition because he didn't think I was, but no, but seriously, I mean, he's the one we all looked up to, and he's never held back anything. Like, you ask him something, he's willing to help. So that speaks a lot to his character and really means a lot. So I'm really happy to be able to hopefully get you out to a whole new crop of people that weren't around 6-7 years ago. So now they can learn about the greatness that preceded everyone.
Yes.
Gee, guys, thank you.
Absolutely. But how are things in California?
Well, weather's good. That's about it. So
yeah, I noticed you're not masked. Are you afraid of being arrested at your home?
I don't know, man. It's thankfully where I live, it's not quite that bad. Now you go to LA and then it's God, I don't even want to drive through that city, let alone get out of my car. So.
Yeah, they throw poop at people, don't they, when you're stopped on the highway?
That or a brick, or they'll rob you. I don't know. It's a fucking war zone down there right now.
Oh, geez Louise. But yeah, of course, it is a kind of a beautiful place. But again, it always comes with kind of some of its consequences, maybe.
What did you just say? Hold on. What did you just say?
Consequences. But I don't know if it fits right there. But moving on, I digress. Sean, I did have some housekeeping to do while I have you here. So I've been working on my America's Strongest Man and World's Strongest Man 105 kilo history. I know I have pretty much, of course, like the years, 2001, of course, I won. Deal won 2020, Terry won 2019, you won in 2018, James 2017, and I have you for 3 straight years.
Boo 2017.
What?
Yeah. I second the boo on the 2017.
So
Not James. I'm just talking about his leg and then the
So 2013, did McCarley win 4 years in a row? 2013, 2012, 2011, 2010?
No.
No. Who was
No. He won 11, 12, and 13. That was it.
all right? Who won 2010?
Mike Gill.
Mike Gill.
No.
Or was it Justin Blake?
Yes, Justin Blake won.
Okay.
Who won? He won 2008 and 2010. Jacob Bodie won. Did he win 2009? No, who won 2009? I don't know. That was before I did ASM. So I don't
2009
remember.
you don't have, but Justin Blake won 2008.
Yeah, 2008 and 10. Who was it? 2009. Was it Jared Spybrook? Shit, I don't remember. Justin Wheeler. I don't even know, man. That was so long ago.
All right, maybe I may have talked to Johnny about it. Do you know like 2007 to 2006, or is that too far out?
No. Well, okay. You know who won 2009?
Who?
Dave Mahalev.
Dave. I'm not familiar with Dave.
You're not? He was an
No.
East Coast boy. He trained, I think, with Poundstone back then, and that was before you really got into it too. Though.
I'm 2012, so anything before 2012.
Yeah, you guys are way before me.
Yeah, I'm pretty hazy.
Yeah, and then before 2008, I don't know. I mean, like Willie won one of the years.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think the year that he picked all the events and set up and put like a max squat and like a max deadlift. He made it like a powerlifting event, from what I hear.
All right, that's interesting. And then really quickly, World Strongest Man. I have, of course, like I have all the last 5 years. And then when it comes to SCL, I know you went in 2015, but I think that's when you like hurt your bicep. But Ben Kelsey won 2015, right?
He won 2 years in a row. Yeah.
So I have
There was no 14.
Oh, there was no 14. Okay.
He won 13 and 15.
Okay.
He won 13 in Ukraine, and then he won 15.
Yeah, I remember because I watched. I have that on my YouTube channel. So guys, if you guys are watching, you want to go on my YouTube channel, go on my playlist. I have all
click the link and subscribe.
Yeah,
Nicholas can't be doing.
Exactly.
Come on, Nick.
Sean, do you know 2012 or 2011?
I don't even know if they even held it then.
Okay. Because in 2010, I found the video of Vitaly Gersimov of the Ukraine.
He won 2 years in a row too.
Okay. Do you know if it was?
I don't know if it was 9 and 10 or 10 and 11, but it might have been. It definitely wasn't 11 because we went out to Ukraine for a Team USA versus Team Ukraine contest in 2011. And at that time, he was already the 2-time champ. So I think he won 2009, 2010.
Okay.
Nick, who won 18 and 19?
Anthony Furman of the United States. And then he's also technically won 2020 because by default.
Doyle rules.
Doyle rule. All right. That was some of the house because I'm trying to have like a master list of that.
Yeah, those shows don't really count though. I mean, it's so unfair how all that happened over there. And I mean,
I've heard a lot about Eastern Europe like that. They host the shows there. It gets pretty brutal.
Well, it's similar to, like, I wouldn't say it's exactly like OSG, but it has the same kind of theme because I mean, the hosting organization is hosting it in their own country on their own equipment. OSG was a little different because all that equipment was new. So nobody really had too much of an advantage, but in Ukraine, all of the equipment was all of their own stuff that they train with all the time. Yeah. And we all know how much of an advantage it is to train on your own stuff and to compete on it. So, I mean, there were so many little nuances with the equipment that none of us had ever seen before that really hurt our performances. So,
like when you went to that was in 2013 when you went to Worlds with Johnny. Or was that
yeah. It was, I mean, it's just crazy.
This was doing the commentating. That looked like a good competition. So, and then 2015, when it was in Norway, and of course, when Ben Kelsey won, that looked like it was a pretty good contest as well. So you think like since 2013, 2015, that's when the standards started improving?
What'd you say after 2015?
So after 2013, 2015, or since 2013, 2015.
No, they didn't really improve because even the Norway show was ran by SCL, and the guy hosting that competed in the show. he competed in the 90 kilo class. That's when Zach went and won.
That's awesome.
And that guy who was hosting the show was not happy and was very surprised that Zach, came in and won. He was heavily favored to win his own show. He picked all the events. So
why do we have a sport where people that host shows compete in them?
Dude, it's the way it is, man.
That, Nick, you asked me what grinds my gears. That fucking grinds my gears.
This is backyard wrestling. That's why.
It's nuts. It's nuts. It's like when Vince McMahon was fighting Stone Cold. Like, it's your company, bro.
Yeah, it's you can't have anything to do with the production when if you're going to compete in it. It's just you can't use your own stuff from your own gym. I mean, come on.
It's crazy to me.
It is a little bit.
So really quickly, Sean. So pretty much Giants Live did like 2013. They took a year break for a few and then started again in 2016.
I don't know if they had much to do with it. I mean, they don't really get involved. I mean, listen, I don't know all the ins and outs and all that, but I don't think they had much to do with besides maybe putting their name on a t-shirt.
Okay.
But back then, I forget her name. She was a very nice lady who held the contest in 2013. And she was working with Dion a lot. I totally forget her name. Alina or something, but she was super cool and very nice. And they paid for everything for us to get over there. The contest was fair enough. I mean, the only unfair advantage was that, it was their home turf, but they can't control that, whatever. They hosted the show, so whatever.
Right.
But it was all their own equipment. But yeah, Colin was there. Colin kept it fair.
Good.
Colin was the judge, and he wasn't letting anybody get away with anything that they didn't deserve. So he kept it fair for us. And
did he let you guys double dip or no?
There was no Viking press. I don't think. He was yelling at everybody though. Like he wasn't letting the Ukrainian guys. They were trying to get away with their sneaky shit, but he wasn't letting them. So
yeah, good.
But of course, we'll get started. So yeah, tell us a little bit in terms of your start in Strongman. And I know, of course, you started with Scott Brengel and his gym. But yeah, tell us a little bit about starting up in the sport and what it was like back then for 105 kilo.
Let's see. My first day, I walked in and Scott asked, why are you doing this? Why do you want to do this? What are you here for? And at that point, I just kind of came
What year
out
was
of
that?
2008.
Okay.
And I'd been competing in powerlifting, well, bench press only. I stopped doing full meets. I was just doing bench press only. And after a few years, I did that from I think like 2000. Well, I did that when I was like 17, all the way until I was like 26 or something. So I did it for a while, but I got burned out of it just because he wasn't really ever competing against anyone. You go do a couple bench presses and you spend $1,000, fly different states. It just eventually got old and there was no competition. And always watching, World's Strongest Man on ESPN, like everybody was like, I would love to do that, but I was always intimidated because I didn't have the equipment, had no idea how I would train for it. So I never really got into it until I went online and I found the Morunde Muscle Forum and way back then. And then I put a message on there and then I think Tommy or Scott reached out to me and we're like, oh, hey, we actually have a gym and we train this stuff at and it's close by you. So come out. So I went out there and then met Scott and he asked, why I was doing this and all that. And at that time, that was also kind of around when Kevin Nee did the True Life MTV.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I referenced that the other day because I remember seeing that. And he's from Massachusetts and he's trained at TPS. So
yeah, and Scott got his pro card with Kevin at the same time because back then it was only the top three. Whoever took top three at the Plat Plus got a pro card. So Kevin Nee won, Scott took third, and I think it was at a California Strongest Man show. They actually pulled an airplane like at the Air Force Base. It was actually pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was like back when they had like real events,
Hey, we do real events in some places.
Yeah, when you can. My comment to him was, I want to beat Kevin Nee. And of course he laughed in my face because that was obviously an absurd statement to make at 218 pounds and have never touching a strongman equipment in my life. So, but I was like, I don't know. I saw it. I was like, I think I could do that. So I always just, I had this desire to do it because I felt that I could. So, that's where it started. And then after my first training day there, it went decently well. Well, the overhead went well, which is not really surprising because I was, bench presser. So I had good pressing strength. So I did really well on the overhead press. And Scott was like, okay, well, that's good, but I kind of expected that. So let's see what you do on the medley. And then that's when everything went to shit, and it took me 4.5 minutes to finish a stupid medley that he finished, I think, in 45 seconds.
Wow.
And I was on the ground, like, like everybody, crying for my mommy, and my legs were cramping and biceps were cramping, and I was on fire. And he's sitting there yelling at me, if you can't finish this, you can't do strongman. So I had to sit there for 4.5 minutes until I finished it. Otherwise it was like, you're not coming back. So, baptism by fire.
Wow.
That
Sucked.
well, you said everyone experienced that. I never experienced that. I was just
Never experienced that.
I was just finishing medleys quickly.
Even when you first started?
Yeah, I was good. That was what I was better at.
Oh, yeah, I had no conditioning because I just laid on a bench press.
Yeah, well, I was active duty Army infantry, so I had cardio. It was different.
But see, which is obviously true, but yeah. Going into my very first medley, right? And back then the weights were pretty heavy. So it was like a 225 keg, 235 keg, run that in, load that over the bar. And then it was a death medley. I should also explain that it wasn't just like a typical medley. And then it was 2-inch handle farmers that you had to carry 50 feet uphill. He lived in a condo at the time. So there was 2 hills that went down. So we had to go up both hills. And then we had to drag a sled, which was a tire with 200 pounds of weight in the tire. And we had to drag that back up the hill. So
that's a little different. All right.
All right. Yeah. There was a couple other guys that have been training strongman for a few years. Most of them were finishing in under a minute and a half. I took 4.5 minutes, but that's because I stopped and I couldn't drag the freaking sled anymore.
It sounds like a CrossFit WOD.
Dude. Well, that's just what Scott did. That was his entry, if you want to come do strongman, we'll put you through the death medley. If you come back, then you can train strongman with us.
Now you just have to pay.
Now you just pay money, but he never charged, dude. I've been training with Scott for, since 2008, never charged me a dime. It was just come in here and bleed and sweat and, be a part of the team.
I love that. We're missing so much of that nowadays where it's the
whole world is missing.
Paying it forward. There's not enough.
You got to earn your place. Do
you have to earn your place at a table, perhaps?
There's no table, but
there's a table, and we're all eating. Sean,
in the garage. You got to earn your place in the garage.
The table's a metaphor.
Yeah. Well, we had to earn our place, but there was that's why I said to you, I don't play that table game anymore. If I'm not invited, then I fuck off.
So Sean, so of course you started working out with Scott. So did you go through the national ranks? How did you earn your pro card, and when did you earn your pro card and stuff?
No, I actively avoided the national circuit.
Ooh,
my first year when it came up, I wanted to go. I was excited about it. And then after talking to other people and learning more about it, I realized that was a disaster of an experience. And when I knew that the Platinum Plus route existed, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go there. That's way easier. It's way better. That'll be my ticket in.
Yeah. Well, no, so funny. All 3 of us were Platinum Plus winners. None of us went through the nationals route. And I was talking to Dan Hughes the other day. I'm like, Dan, you got a hard climb. There's only been one national winner that ever won World's Strongest Man or America's Strongest Man. And that was James. James is the only national winner that's ever actually moved on and became successful in the pro level. So winning nationals is not necessarily correlated to being a top level strongman. Fun fact.
James had an interesting, I don't know if you guys have had James on or talked to him, but
he's on the list. Okay.
I would like to hear his story actually at some point, because he didn't, he won nationals, but if you look at the ASMs that he did, he typically did not do well. And then all of a sudden he kind of came out of nowhere and started winning, 117. It was the past 3 years he took second to last or something, or very, very low on the ranking there. But then he came back and just killed it. I don't know what changed or what happened with him, but
sometimes it clicks. Sometimes it just takes a while sometimes to find how your body, how to do things.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I was happy for him when he won in 17.
Yeah.
I couldn't be happy for you winning because that was your first ASM. I wasn't going to be like, nah, this guy should win.
You were mad. You were a little bit mad there when I came up. It was like, by the way, I'm good.
I knew you were good, but I was like, you still I didn't see you compete against anybody in the main class. So, we all knew that you were a threat, but it's kind of I felt like James. I was happy to see him
I
win.
get it. I was happy for him to win because I like James.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. That's the only contest that all three of us that were in together. That's the only, we didn't, there's of course a bunch of other contests where I competed with Anthony or I competed with Sean, but for all three of us in one show, that was the only show.
Because I missed ASM 18.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I was in LA. I just didn't have a place to stay.
Dude,
Right,
there's
Sean.
a lot of hotels. I don't
Right, Sean? Remember that? Remember I didn't have a place to stay? And I was trying to...
Airbnb, Yelp, I don't know. Google.
So-
There's plenty of places.
So what Platinum Plus did you win your pro card at?
The Battle of Champions or something, and it was in Connecticut.
Oh, all right. And then that would have been 2010.
Mhm.
All right. And then so of course you went through the ASM. So your first ASM was it when there was the ASM during nationals? Was that the kind of like
No, I did ASM in 2010 after I won my pro card.
Oh,
ASM
gotcha.
was like a month or two later.
All right, cool.
So I jumped in there and got my ass kicked.
Hey.
Took 10th, but
No better way to learn.
yeah, no, I mean, I made a countless mistakes, and that's all it is. You know, the more mistakes that you don't make, the better you
That
do.
and it fuels the fire. When you catch that whooping once in a while, it kind of fuels that drive.
Yeah. I was happy I won. It's all good. You know, I did not think I was going to win by any means, so I didn't have any expectations other than just do what I could do in training. But you know, it's a learning process. The equipment's all different, location. You know, it's just there's a million things that go into it. Thankfully, I didn't have to cut any weight. I didn't have to start cutting weight until 2013.
Oh wow.
So that was actually nice. But
Now that's all you do.
well, if I want to live past 35, pretty
Wait,
much.
did you say past 35?
Yeah, because I'm 35 now. So
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I know you ain't no spring chicken, so don't try that shit.
no, so you know, I can only, you know, time was ticking down on me, according to the cardiologist, anyway.
So within your career, of course, you kind of amassed, of course, 4 America's Strongest Mans. And I know in 2016, of course, second at World's Strongest Man to just do Marcin. And then I have some other kind of titles, of course. Still to this day, the best 105 combo when it comes to log and deadlift in the same competitions, 400,
Untouched.
400 log, 800 deadlift. First at the Ronnie Coleman Classic. But is there any other accolades I was missing there?
I mean, you know, miscellaneous smaller show wins here and there. Like I won California Strongest Man twice as a lightweight, twice as a heavyweight. Heavyweight pro card, you know, which I got in 2014. Kind of by default, but I still fucking won. I still earned it, but it was, you know, I mean, all the fucking stars aligned. So, you know, hey, that was another show I was not expecting to win. I just went out there just because my training partner Chris was competing at
Mr. Burke.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'll just go out there and, you know,
Hercules.
I like the event, so I just did it. And then just like one thing after another kept kind of happening throughout the show with like other guys getting injured or equipment failing. And it was just like, I just stayed kind of consistent and just, you know, snuck away with that.
Hey, my dog wanted to say hi, Sean.
Oh,
That's a nice wiener.
Yeah, thank you.
It's very dark.
Go back into your hole, Maya.
So I have a question, Sean.
Yeah.
So with your ascent, you won 3 ASM in a row?
Yeah.
Then you got injured that year and you came fucking back a year later and won again.
Yeah.
What did you do that no one else was doing to be so consistent at that level? Because before or since, that's a half a decade you were dominant, you know?
I don't know, you know, it wasn't like anything that was, I would say, like specific that I did that I could attribute, you know, or think back like, yeah, because I did that. I don't know, man. If you look at the wins and if you actually like broke it down by event, like you could just see it was just kind of being consistent enough to not make too big of mistakes. You know, and then like, you know, even Camby knows, I mean, winning by like 100th of a second, you know, like I beat Camby by like 100th of a second on the yoke, like, you know,
on the farmers, and then the yoke was like equally is like 0.4 seconds.
Yeah. You know, sometimes like, you know, you get those, like somebody has to get those little victories. And honestly, I mean, I think I was lucky enough to get enough of those to string together consecutive wins.
Mhm.
I mean, the only like the real like my second year winning ASM in 15, that was like the most. I would say that was the biggest point spread. I wouldn't say that was my most dominant, but that was kind of like the biggest point spread. But again, that came down to one event. It came down to the deadlift where everybody zeroed, and I didn't.
The
So I got
challenger.
so I got like 11 points. Which just sky. But if you look at the first two events,
Yeah.
I lost the first. I didn't win the first two. Like I took second on the log. I took third in the yoke. And then I won the deadlift. Everybody zeroed and just fucking leapfrogged me. So I didn't really have to do much to win the other ones.
So that's interesting because I think I agree. It's 100% more about consistency than it is dominance. And the one thing that was similar, like between you and I, is we both had very good deadlifts.
Yeah.
I wasn't definitely not as good overhead as you, but if you have that one event where you can always kind of count on as a guarantee, and then you can be consistent across the others, a lot of times that's going to put you where you need to be.
Dude, that's what winning is all about. It's not, people nowadays, I think, because like I don't know, I kind of would think that the higher up classes, like the heavyweight, the open classes, there's a lot of these guys, especially on Instagram, because the influence you have on social media for a while there was getting you invites to shows. And what was the best thing to show? A heavy deadlift, a heavy log, maybe a heavy yoke, but I mean, nobody was out there going like, look, I do 400-pound farmers, invite me somewhere. Nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
So, being good at like a few little static things is like what everybody did. And not a lot of people, I don't think, trained, work capacity, or train the events often. I think people really broke them down in their training, and they were doing like maybe one event per training session. The way that we always trained was we had a dedicated day for events, and that was all the moving, medley events, and when you do 3 or 4 events in a day, you build that work capacity. And I can't speak for anybody else. I don't know if anybody else did it like that, during my competitive, season there, but that's what I did, and it seemed to carry over. And then obviously just not falling or not crumbling under pressure. When you get to the show, we're all of our own biggest worst enemies when that whistle blows.
How did you handle the pressure,
shaking
Sean? Like, did you do anything special?
No idea. I was not confident most of the time. Like, I had my confident events, like when it came to the log or like a deadlift. Like I felt confident there, but I mean, I'd be lying if I told you that before the whistle started, I just knew I was going to destroy it.
No, I mean, I do believe you, because despite what you may see or think, I am not confident myself on game day. Yeah. I really do fake the funk a lot of the time, because that helps me kind of get through with my own battle with myself. Because even that year I fucking obliterated everyone. I was terrified every event. I was like, man, I can't screw. Like, I wasn't confident. I didn't know what I was gonna do. And I do think that's a common theme, is the difference between winners and losers is winners can manage their own self-doubt.
Yeah, well, and like, to that, it's not, you like, the better you do in the show, like until you get to the last event, but even still, like, it's like more pressure, because it's like, shit, I just won, I got to keep winning, and people are going to think I suck if I don't win the next event, or if I do bad.
It builds. The better you do, the more pressure builds.
Like, what have you done lately? Like, oh, you just won the event, but now you're starting.
It's like you can go into day 3 with a huge lead, and then you're like, oh shit, there's a bag toss. What do I do?
Or truck bowl.
I didn't have the lead.
Yeah, right. Or dude, like, and for me, it was farmers. Like, farmers was so hit or miss. I'd be like, I don't know, maybe I'll do well, maybe I'll drop it every 10 feet. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, everyone's got that event.
Well,
everybody does.
I was like, that's in 2017, 2018 at America's Strongest Man, I was like, oh, I can beat Sean on the farmers. He sucks on the farmers, but you beat me on the fat grip deadlift, and also by 0.1 of a second on the farmer. I'm like, I had to win those, like, in order to be competitive. And that's
sometimes it just what is this? The meeting has been upgraded by the.
It was Canby. He was being cheap.
Oh. Anyway, that's it though. Everybody has a bad event, and winning is not, it's not like there's like a recipe for it, man. Like you just, whatever happens. Like everybody's subject to the same variables. I always found it really funny when people would buy all the equipment that was going to be used in the show to try to like increase their chances.
That's a more recent thing too, right? Where
people have been doing that forever, but that's the shitty part about the sport is the fact that was ever allowed to be done, and like the Stone of Steel from Bartos. I'll never fucking get over that bullshit. I
didn't mind with the tacky towel, but when it was like chalk only, that was like a whole new event.
No, but like, when now, not discrediting Hadge by any means. I love Hadge, but he had
warning alert. He's about to discredit Hadge.
Well, I'm going to discredit something, but which most people probably don't know. He had the Stone of Steel prior to winning the Arnold that year.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yep. He had to train on it, and nobody else had nobody even knew that thing existed. And he'd already been training on it.
Ooh.
He won. He did what I did in 15. He got a rep. Everybody else zeroed. He wins by 10 points. Shocker.
So actually, then he had to do, one of the guy got the Stone of Steel, and that was a Vengi from Russia who won the Arnold amateur in 2020. And then he won the Middle East strongest man. So he's actually going to be in the WUS main show next year.
Oh, interesting.
But Zach had the frame hold, and all he had to do was beat a Vengi to make it. It was just like one of his best events, just rep and just like, and he was able to do it. So of course, all kudos to him. But
he still had to lift it, which is, I mean, to this day, I couldn't lift a Stone of Steel like Zach did. He's incredibly strong, so I'm not taking anything away. But you give.
No, that's a little fucky. That's a little fucky.
You give the other 9 guys on that stage that Stone of Steel to train with, and there's no way that the outcome is the same.
Yeah, no, that's how does that, how it's.
Because, man, the sport's backyard wrestling, because there's no control over it. That's the bullshit that happens. It's people come and make new equipment, they get it approved, and then all of a sudden everybody's forced to buy it, or they're going to be at a disadvantage.
Nick,
and we don't.
You asked me what grinds my gears earlier. I got a third thing.
All right, what grinds your gears, Anthony?
When people fucking make you buy equipment because it's been approved, and then they come another fucking person 2 years later to buy more equipment, screw that.
Ask Johnny, man. It was big. It was William Strength, then it was Johnny's, then it was Bartos, and now I don't know.
Now they have that wheelbarrow thing.
Yeah.
It'll probably be just bring your own equipment.
Hey, Sean, William, it's funny because I've talked to the William Strength guys, because William Strength guys are the Tsunami Bar people. So it's just
they adapted. Good for them.
Well, right? So
tangents.
When it was going on, but we were talking about like what it takes to like repeat for the most part, and like just
all the stars aligning. Honestly, I mean, sure, I was strong, but to be honest and fair, everybody at ASM has a chance at winning. It's just like walking in the UFC. I mean, you don't know who's going to win. It's just luck of the draw. I mean, people could be a little bit better prepared than others, but anybody can make a mistake. Anything can happen. You can tear a bicep, anything, quad, hamstring, whatever, just like ASM in 17. I came out and, destroyed the log, felt great, and then the Fatback Farmers happened, and that took a lot of energy from me. That did not go my way. And then, blew my quad on the third event. I mean, shit.
Was your knee or quad giving you troubles prior in training to that?
It was hurting. Yeah, I never got it checked out. I felt that I probably strained something around the kneecap. But like every other strain, you just kind of ignore it and just whatever. That was just a perfect storm of instances that happened all simultaneously. But again, you just never know. So you can be as prepared as you want. And what's crazy is that show, that was my easiest weight cut. I didn't have to I didn't spend 1 minute in the sauna. I just dieted and just didn't eat for like 12 hours. So that was super easy, and I was like, oh, this is like a walk in the park, and then that's what happens. And then the other ASM where I'm like, barely making weight, super stressed, super hard weight cut. And then, I win. So dude, I really have no answer to how I did it. It's just,
do you think your goatee helps you perform better?
I didn't have a goatee.
Oh, so
look at the picture.
that's from like 2012. I don't care about that picture.
No,
Oh, that's 2016.
Yeah, the 15 or 16.
So have you considered getting rid of your goatee so you can get back to that kind of shape?
Yeah, girlfriend won't let me.
Ooh, she likes to go.
Oh, so that's a performance goatee, but in a different way.
I say nothing.
All right, Sean, I got a good one for you. And then of course do the best you can, but fill in the blank. Winners are blank.
Is this fucking like ad libs or something?
Yes, it is, dude.
That's exactly what it is. Answer the question.
I don't know. Successful.
Of course. Anything else?
Let him go, KB. He answered. Move on.
What do you mean anything else?
Move on to the next one.
Broke.
Ooh, that's
physically or cash?
Both.
Well,
Campy's not broke.
Well, no. I picked a bad time to retire. You picked a great time just to be like, hey, I'm just going to get in my peak now that everyone's gone.
Well, I just, I think my number, I was mentioning, I think to some other young individuals, I think that my best attribute when it comes to strongman is staying healthy. I have very few injuries. I've only re-tore my meniscus when I did from wrestling. Really, besides that, I've stayed healthy. And I think that's a tribute to kind of all the pain I take when it comes to like recovery. Dry needles was not fun. Getting dry needles in my bicep is the worst, but I do it because I don't want to, I'm definitely afraid of tearing a bicep or anything like that. So I take a lot of pain when it comes to like the recovery. So I think it's one trade-off, but it's been working so far. So knock on wood, right? I could be I'm going to stay healthy forever.
The other thing that I now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but just from knowing you and watching like your training and stuff, you don't chase PRs in the gym necessarily, or like records in the gym, like you train hard and you push yourself, but I feel like you do tend to cap, how much you perform in the gym or how hard, the percentage.
I would say, I think in the past, I think I've done those glory lifts. I've gone after like the big PRs and stuff like that. So I learned that I explored my body, but in the more recent years when I started redefining things, I stayed away from, of course, the big lifts, and especially for like the log record. We were talking, I asked you, what do you think is a good rep range that would get me above 400? And you said 375 for 3. So I went for 380 for 3. And I felt that I was pretty confident from the 380 for 3 that I should be in the 400s and give myself the best opportunity 2 weeks out to hit the record.
Yeah. And Tyler, somebody else, was going for 400 like very often, right?
Yeah, I think he filled that 4 times this summer before.
You want to have that confidence, but see, that's the thing though, is like, I always like to leave a little bit on the table, because I was like, I know when I get there, I'm going to let it all loose. I'm going to have the adrenaline. I'm going to have the extra boost from being there. I just need to be comfortable in the gym. I don't need to push too hard, but it's a fine line to walk. So it's hard, especially honestly with social media. Social media is the worst thing ever. And it forces people to try to be relevant. And like the only way you can be relevant is posting PRs. I mean, shit, Layer Wheels made a whole career out of PRing, so when people have that to look up to, or as an example to go by, I think a lot of people do that, or, nowadays too, just getting recognized by the, Giants Live crowd or any of these other organizations. You post your big lifts. That's how you're going to get noticed. The days of going to a show or being a part of a circuit and winning, show after show to prove that you deserve to be somewhere. We don't see that too much anymore, because all these organizations are divided. Nobody's really working together like they should be.
Don't we see that, Sean?
Well, you're a baby, dude. You're fucking new. You're a newborn.
I'm bringing that back. That's all right. Newborn's got a lot of time left on this earth. I tell you. Yeah,
no. well, I know, man. Like, dude,
you've been telling me since I got into sport, I can't do nothing to help change shit.
You're realizing how difficult it is, and you're really realizing why so many people gave up.
Yeah. I get it. No, this is not an easy path that any of us are on.
Yeah, but you're going after a different crowd, which is not something that's been done. Everybody attacks the big dinosaur. Everybody wants to open guys So they go there and they try to promote those shows with those guys, but the mass majority is everybody under 300 pounds. There's so many more people there, and you have there and there's really no control over it. There's no one's getting in your way, so you can kind of do whatever you want.
So I have a follow-up question to Nick's. This is not a fill in the blank. Don't worry. What's the big idea?
Huh?
What's the big idea, Sean?
What's the big idea?
About what?
Are you passing?
I don't know. What's the big idea?
What's the big idea?
All
right. Follow-up question.
Can I have kind of a little bit more context?
No, that's the question.
What's the big idea? I don't know. I don't know where to start. There's a lot of big ideas.
What's your big idea, Anthony?
No. This is not about me. So we're just gonna so he doesn't have an answer. Second part. Who do you think you are?
Man, I'm just a small fish in a big pond, buddy.
Okay. And what gives you the right?
Are these questions for me?
Yeah, I'm ripping off The Office. You ever seen the exit interview with Toby?
Oh, Jesus. Dude, I just watched that last night. Well, I didn't watch that episode, but
I just got you.
I should have known better, but it sounded familiar. Now I can picture it.
Now I feel like Toby's sitting there going, what?
But Sean, I know, of course, you only had a limited amount of time. How much time do we have left with you?
We actually need to wrap it up because we need to keep this watchable.
Right,
we can't have it too long.
All right, 5-10 minutes.
Do you have any other questions?
So I do have one. So of course, if you had to talk to yourself when you're first starting out, what would you say to young Sean when you were starting out, so you made less mistakes in your strongman career, or what would you tell a young lifter now that they should focus on, or what they should do?
Oh, dude, we don't have enough time for that. Jesus, I don't even know where to start.
About one thing.
One thing. God, I don't know.
Like my biggest thing, if I tell I go, just compete often, just get out there and compete. And
well, see, I mean, I guess that's what I'm trying to think of an answer that kind of answers a specific question, because there's so many things that you could say for so many different things. So, I mean, I feel like I'm trying to think of something that I did wrong that I would go back and change. And to be honest, I really didn't. I mean, I did everything. I wouldn't change much of anything about what I did. The only thing, but this is just like specifically towards me. The only thing I would have done is I would have tried to have thought a little bit more serious about how I wanted my strongman career to end, or like what was really most important as far as the goals. Because I felt like I stayed at 105 for a little too long when I think I could have capitalized on the heavyweight side of things. And I may have gotten a little bit more exposure to some of the bigger shows had I put more time there, instead of, waiting for too long, and staying at 105 and keeping myself in that class for longer than I should have. Because, the ultimate goal for me when I got into the sport was to make it onto World's Strongest Man, just to make it on there one time, to be a part of the 30 guys. That was like the ultimate goal, and I went through periods of where I thought I could do it, and then I doubted myself, and I kind of kept going back and forth. And then just all the health stuff with being that big and what you have to do in order to get there, was a little scary too. I don't know.
You're like 5'10", Sean, right?
No, I'm like 5'7".
So
say he ain't no 5'10". He's 5'10". Called me Miles Davis.
Yeah. So in the heaviest you got up to?
It was 280.
Yeah, 5'7". Yeah, like Michael Chiklis from The Shield.
But uglier, which is surprising.
You're a spitting image. I don't know about uglier.
Uglier? Well, I don't think I'm uglier.
So kind of to sum that, here's what I took from that: is winning sometimes can prevent you from taking a chance, because you get comfortable winning, you enjoy winning, right? Yeah. So like you don't want it's not necessarily you know, the unknown after winning, being so good at 105, the unknown of stepping up, like that's
Well,
where the self-doubt comes in, right? Like
I mean, it wasn't that I was like, well, I'm so good at 105, I'm just going to stay here. I mean, you know, Zach accomplished something that nobody else did prior to him.
Zach Hadge, right?
No,
Carly.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like in meaning that he won 3 ASMs in a row. Prior to that, nobody won more than 2.
Yeah,
you know, and my goal coming in was just to win 1. You know, and then I won 1, and I was like, well, you know, and then I won the second one. I was like, all right, you know, and then kind of like the picture kind of kept expanding, and I was like, well, if I could win the most amount of ASMs, then I think I have a better chance at that than I do at being one, like a really good heavyweight. It was kind of like, do I want to be a mediocre heavyweight, or do I want to be possibly one of the best 105s? You know, so that's why
That's American, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I stuck with staying at 105. But, you know, looking back at it, I mean, you know, I still like that idea, but I would have loved to have been able to just say that I went to Worlds, you know. So I think, you know, advice for somebody kind of maybe that's in the sport, you know, really think about what you want to leave behind, because at the end of all this, you know, it's extremely unlikely that you're going to have a career when this is all done through strength sports. It's extremely unlikely you'll have anything to do with it. And all you're going to have is just, you know, the memories you created and your own little legacy inside your head. So you have to live with
friends, Sean.
And friends. But, you know,
you didn't let him finish. He was saying something fucking sweet and awesome, and you interrupted him.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I ruined everything.
Anyway, yeah. So you're only left with whatever you accomplish, you know, and that little legacy lives on in your head forever. So, you know, you need to do what you have to do to be the best at whatever class or category, whatever you want to do. And yeah, you know, go for it, really, you know what I mean? But, you know, also I think people put a little too much effort with social media and, like, you know, really thinking that they need to be a part of that type of crowd, or that, you know, exposure on there is going to get you somewhere. You know, I still don't really believe in that. I hope the sport changes to where people can, you know, go and win shows, and, you know, the best athletes get opportunities over others, you know, and people just need to be just more well-rounded. You know, that was the other thing too, is staying well-rounded helped continue me to win and make less mistakes. You know, people focus too much on just 1 or 2 things that they're good at. You know, as the saying goes, train what you're bad at. So, you know, that's always just a common, but, you know.
I love it, Sean. I love all that. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, simple stuff, I guess.
Good stuff.
But
don't get too fat. That's another problem. Do not overeat.
I think Sean, I think I might have you beat in one category. I think I might have competed more times with Johnny than you have competed with Johnny. I think I counted 14 competitions with Johnny the other day. I did 4 this year alone. But you know how many competitions you've done with?
Why are you bragging about that, though?
Yeah, I don't understand.
I'm just saying, because it was used to be like Sean and Johnny used to be the duo, but now it's me and Johnny. So he's my friend. So find your own Guido to hang out with.
He speaks Ukrainian, so yeah, it was a no-brainer for him to go to Ukraine.
Yeah. Great friend. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Of course, look forward to more conversations, and of course, just remember, just go out there and be a winner.
This outro. Here's our outro song.
All right, guys, stay strong, be jacked.